Hey, Mason here. So it's been a while since I've played POE2 and POE1. Been taking a break playing some other stuff, but POE2 reveal came out and I'm super excited to get back into it. And I just thought I would go over some of the few ideas that I thought of and that I think, and I'll talk about what I'll actually be starting. So I think these ideas will be all pretty solid. But I'll start with Huntress. So if you want to play Spears, you want to play a new class, I think this will be very solid. The main reason why I think this will be very strong is because of Stalking Panther here allows you to get very good value from Queen of the Forest, which is a relatively low evasion-based chess piece. And you'll just go evasion helmet, evasion glove, and evasion boots, so you'll go very, very fast. In terms of what else you would take, Elemental Infusion is probably decent, Critical Strike is probably decent, Predatory Instinct is pretty good probably. Penetrate I'm not too sure about, but I think if you get like 600, 700 accuracy on your main hand weapon, it's pretty decent amount of damage. It's more flat fizz than what you would get by having the fizz roll on the weapon. And Into the Kill is probably not that good because the skill speed only applies for open weakness. So ideally, you would hit them with a really hard attack when their wound is open, as shown on the HP bar in the trailer. So that was initial thoughts. New class, interesting. Queen of the Forest will make you go very fast, which means this is probably going to be a decent Sanctum runner. But it's going to be hard to actually know how this actually performs without seeing the actual skills and the numbers and the actual patch notes. The next idea was an extremely tanky Smithy build. So the way this Ascendancy works from my understanding is you can pick this node here for free, and then you can pick as many body armors nodes as you want. So it would cost you 1 Ascendancy point per node that you click, and that I guess would be a node that you're not clicking on this side. But my initial thoughts is the Chieftain setup, Forged in Flame, maximum fire res applies to your other max res, Coal Stoker. So all you do is you just stack fire res, you don't give a shit about anything else. You stack maximum fire res from your jewels, and then, so you click this node, you click this node, you click Smith Masterwork, and you have 4 more points to work with, because this is 1, 2, 3, 4, and each Ascendancy has 8 points. So you'll pick 4 of these passives. The best passives I see, Kitava's Engraving, 15% increased life, Support Straps, gives you a shit ton of strength, means you can stack more damage if you're playing that strength node on the skill tree, the one all the way down here, this one here, so you get a bit more free damage, and it also gives you more life. Regenerates 5% HP per second, which is crazy. This is a lot of regen. It is quite hard to get like any sort of reliable regen on in PoE2, especially if you're running the Morris Invictus chess piece, although you can't run that here. And you also take this Fizz as Fire, so that you mitigate 25% Fizz as extra fire, or maybe you take the fire res early and you swap over later. So that was initial thoughts. This is an extremely good defensive shell. I think it's probably one of the best ones I've seen for PoE2, because you can get to 90 max res because you have +2 maximum res fire jewels, like jewels that you suck into your tree, and all you have to do is just stack fire res and all your resistances are solved. So it's very, very cheap in terms of gearing this. Obviously, you have to still figure out ways to get chaos res, but it should be very easy on the suffix pressure. And you can basically go fire res, chaos res, and strength for your suffixes, and that would help you basically resolve defenses on this character. In terms of the other notes, the tempered weapon thing, it seems like, I don't know if you can only temper maces. If you can temper like maybe spears, it could be really good. Depends by how this thing actually works. The main issue I see with this Ascendancy is that if you want to take tempered weapon, that's going to cost you 2 points, which means that you only get 2 points for your Smith's Masterwork, and like getting 2 points is kind of shit, like compared to getting 4 points. And you get like life and strength, or you get like that's really it, regen, and like you don't really have any options. Like you don't really have enough. You need to click more nodes. So if you are going to end up going against the Anvil, really depends on what this actual effect does. So the main thing is, what does it do? I think it's like you explode, like your kills explode with fire damage. Is it like Herald of Ash? Does it work on other weapons? Will it work on spears? That's the main thing. Will it work on bows? Probably not, but spears is the main one. If it works on spears, you will likely play Spear Smithy. You will not play maces, because maces feel terrible to play. But yeah, how does this thing actually work? We don't know. How does Manifest Weapon work? We also don't know. And what is this fire spell on hit? Is this like, when you hit something, do you get energy? And then when you feel the energy, do you cast a spell? How does this actually work? Is this like Cyclone Mjolnir from PoE1, where every single small hit will proc it? We have no clue. Depends on how this works. It could be really insane with proccing a shit ton of fire spells for massive damage. But my thoughts are, you take the double defensive nodes on this Ascendancy. It is a defensive melee Ascendancy from what you see. You check how good Tempered Weapon is, whether it works on spears. You check how the fire spell on a hit works, and you also check how Manifest Weapon works. But based on this, the way this is worded, I'm fairly certain that when you hit something, it will give you energy, and then when your energy is full, you'll proc the spell, which makes it a lot worse, depending on the thresholds, obviously. And Manifest Weapon, we have not really seen much about it. It could be good, could be bad. But the idea is that if you do take Tempered Weapon, you will have 2 points to work with left, and you will likely take Manifest Weapon, because you don't really have any other good options. Either you take Heart of the Forge, or you take Living Weapon. You wouldn't take Smith Masterwork, because it forces you to use a white body armor, which is pretty rough. And just to note that you will want to take the Expert Plated Armor. That gives you 2% life regenerated per second as the implicit, if you do end up playing Smith's Masterwork, so that will be best in slot. Alright, so what am I going to League Start? Lich looks the most interesting. So, in POE2, when I first League started, I played Infernalist Minions, and I played CI. So most people did not play CI. Over here. Max life becomes white, immune to chaos damage. But I played CI, and I ran this as my ascendancy. So why did I play CI? Mainly because Altered Flesh and CI means that you don't take 20% Fizz. And it was just a good defensive shell. That's it. I didn't want to give my Chaos Res. I wanted to be cheap. So here's the main thing. What this setup I have right now is actually not, it doesn't actually give us much Infernalist. This gives us 20% less damage taken. This gives us the conversion to Chaos, which is 20% less Fizz taken. And my Fire Res was kept at 90. So help a tiny bit there. This thing here is, honestly, it's whatever. I don't really think it's that good. This thing here is so hard to consistently have running that I also don't think it's that good. Normally what people do is they take, I think it's the Spirit node here, and they normally take one of these, either the Energy Shield node here or the Mana node over here, and they would click Mind Over Matter on the tree. So this setup I had, it's actually not that good. In terms of the tendency, what it actually gives us is not actually that good. Lich looks insane for minions. So the main issue with minions that I personally had was clearing Breach. You have no AoE clear, no splash. That's immediately all solved by Rupture the Soul. Cursed or Profane Bloom, whatever you call it. POE1's, that's the POE1's name. Cursed enemies killed by you or your allies in your presence, which is maybe 60% of your screen from where you are in the center, have a 33 chance to explode, dealing a quarter of their max life as chaos damage. This is probably going to instantly solve minion clear by itself. I don't think there's any question. This, plus any curse that has Hex Bloom. Hex Bloom support makes it so that when the minion dies, it spreads the curse to everything around it. So the way I understand this is, you curse the minion, your minions would kill it. When it dies, it spreads the curses around to everything around it, and then the explosion kills those minions next to it. I'm not sure of the second part, whether it self-propagates, but this will immediately solve clear for basically all minion builds if you are playing this. You would take this node, and you would also take this node here. So right now, this node says Blackened Heart. It has actually been corrected. It's supposed to be Dominion over Flesh. That's what's supposed to be on this node right here. And this node here is supposed to be Blackened Heart. They got it mixed around in the picture. But you would also take this node here so that you can actually curse hexproof enemies. That's just pretty mandatory, I think. The next one I think is really strong is this Necromantic Conduit node. So you and your allies in your presence, remember your allies are included so your minions get this, gain Unholy Might when you're not on low mana. Unholy Might gives you 30% of all damage as extra chaos. Remember, this is all damage. This is a lot of damage. So the reason why this is going to be insane is because it's a very large damage multiplier onto your minions. It is chaos damage, which I'll explain why that's really important. But the main thing I'll also mention is the Blackened Heart node. 4% increased magnitude of Unholy Might buffs that you grant. So it doesn't say buffs on you, it says you grant, and I'm thinking that you will grant that to your minions. You may also grant it to yourself. I'm not 100% sure on the wording, but from what I read, I think it will apply to the buff granted to your minions per 100 mana. This, with around 2.5k mana, means that you're getting a 100% increased magnitude. So 4% times 25 equals 100. And that would double the effect of Unholy Might, which means that you'll be doing 70% of all your damage as extra chaos. So if you get even more mana, that becomes even more ridiculous. So that's so much damage, and it's all damage which means that it's additional. It just adds onto it. It's a multiplicative amount of damage. At least I think that's how it works. So that's a shit ton of damage. So the main thing here is that you lose 5% of mana per second. Compared to Infernalist nodes, these is a lot more damage. You solve the two biggest issues with minions. You solve damage for clear, so clear spreading with Rapture the Soul, and you just get free damage from Necromantic Conduit. So it's like you get a shit ton of damage, which you never got on Infernalist. Infernalist, you could gain Spirit if you played non-CI, but on the CI build, you only gain Tankiness. You did not gain any damage at all. In terms of this main line here, lose 5% of your mana per second. This is probably the worst thing about this build. I currently do not know how to solve this, but remember that the base mana regen is 4%. So I think Dreamcore made a video about this. He said that your base mana regen, this was like ages ago when POE2 first came out, your base mana regen is 4%, which means you're actually losing 1% mana per second. And if you get like 100% increased mana regeneration rate, your base mana regen should go up to 8%, 4 times 2, which means that you're actually gaining 3% mana per second, which means you're basically out what you had before, which means that this is not actually an issue at all. It's actually just solved immediately. So it's actually might be very free. So that's what I think I'll be playing. I'll be playing Witch, I'll be sending Lich, I'll be clicking Rupture the Soul, Dominion over Flesh, Blackened Heart, and Necromantic Conduit. And I'll be playing probably Frost Mages, because that's what I'm used to in POE2. That's the build I ended up with. I know how to build it, I know how to gear it, I also know how to skill tree it. Otherwise, I'd probably be playing Spectres. Spectres, yeah. The new little minions that you can summon the minions into, the mobs. It seems kind of insane. Really depends. Like, there's going to be so much theory crafting, like 100 plus minions or some shit. Like, it's going to be ridiculous. It's going to take forever. But I'm probably going to start Arsonists for leveling, Frost Mages once I can swap, and then Storm Mages for Sanctum, and Frost Mages for General Clear, probably, for bossing. And that's my thoughts. So, there's two more things I want to mention. One is that Soulless Form does actually solve Necromantic Conduit if your mana is equal to your life. Oh, sorry, if your mana is less than your life or equal, I think it can be a slightly bit above. This node solves Necromantic Conduit's downside by itself. Since so say they're equal, right? You'd get 6% of your max life per second as mana, and because they're equal, that would be 6% mana regen, which means that you're losing 5% mana will become gain 1% mana per second, and then that doesn't include your base mana regen. So that's like, oh, actually it does. You remove that, so you get one mana per second. So it's like, I don't think it's better than just building 100% mana regen rate and just clicking this node anyways and just relying on base mana. But it really depends on how this works. And this node right here. So your life cannot change when you have energy shield. What I don't understand about this node is how does this work when you have a very small amount of ES and you get hit by a very big attack? Say I have 5 ES, right? I get hit by 1,000 damage at the moment, like by a boss slap, like one instance hit. The moment I get hit, it checks my HP, it says I have energy shield, so my life cannot change. So will the hit then just deal damage to my ES and not affect my life? From my understanding, I think that's how it should work. It sounds like it's way too strong if that's how it works. It's likely that you'll take 5 ES and then you'll take the remaining damage to your HP. But if it's one hit and you have a small amount of ES buffer, and it says that your life can't change while you have ES. So if the hit hits you, it shouldn't change your life, right? Because you have an ES the moment you're taking the damage. So that will have to be tested. If it works how the way I think it works, where you would actually just take no overflow damage, you would play. There's a node on the tree that gives you ES on block. I didn't type in on block. I forgot where it was. I think it's like here. Yeah, gain 20%, gain 20 energy shield when you block. Very small amount, but you'd play this with 75% block, and every time you block, you'd gain 20 ES, and the next hit cannot overflow this 20 ES that you gained. So I think that would be like insane. I'm like fairly certain that's not how it should work. But if that's how it reads and that's how I think it works, then that's like something that you can abuse a lot on this ascendancy. The main thing is that you either lose Unholy Might or the Curse Explosion, the Curse Proof, Hex Proof, or the increased effect of Unholy Might buffs. So you have to lose one of those things. But yeah, this is probably what I'm going to play. I'm going to start Witch, play Minions. I'm going to play SRS plus Arsonists until probably end of campaign. Then I'm going to swap over to Frost Mages or Storm Mages. I don't know yet, because the main reason why you would play Frost Mages before is because, well, they did actually do more damage, but their range was shorter, so their application damage was not as good. But their clear was a bit better, because their clear was more AoE. Like, it would actually freeze all the mobs, and it would actually do a bit more AoE when you have split shot and like the scatter shot support, stuff like that. But lightning mages, personally, when I played them, they did actually feel better to play, like in terms of their ability to actually deal damage, because it's not an aimed projectile. So yeah, I will just quickly point out though that if you're getting 70% extra damage as chaos damage, there is a free wither on the tree for minions that no one ever clicked. You get 10% increased chance to apply wither, and wither gives you 50%. It's 5% increased chaos damage taken by the mob. So it's actually not increased chaos damage. It's actually even better than that. It's multiplicative. And then it can be inflicted up to 10 times. So they're actually taking 50% more chaos damage, which means if you have Necromantic Conduit with 70% all damage as chaos, and then the mob takes the 70% and then actually gets boosted by another 50%, so you're actually taking like nearly 100% extra damage. So they're taking 100%, like whatever damage you're dealing, cold damage, lightning damage, whatever, and then they're taking 105% chaos damage. That seems pretty good to me. And there's also another node on the tree that could help. This one right here, 8% Fizz is extra chaos. So if you're playing a physical-based minion, they will do extra chaos. A bit more extra free damage, and then it also get buffed by the wither, and then you'd also probably add into your necromantic conduit damage. So that's a little bit more free damage. But I'm still not too convinced about this one because physical damage minions aren't very good. Like you have Reavers, you have Archers, and that's really it. And the issue with Archers is that, well, previously they had clear issues, which is technically solved on this Lich Ascendancy. So that could be a solution. But the single target is pretty mediocre. Main reason why Frost Mages were really good is because they could shotgun. So Archers can't really do that. And then the issue with Reavers is that they're melee, so their ability is like kind of shit. Like the minion doesn't actually hit the mob, like they have to get in melee range. They all crowd around the boss, they get stuck. And I will just quickly point out that I played Maya and Augury, like I literally logged in just then to test it. And it seems like they actually did fix the minion issue with them getting stuck. So I didn't really get any, I think I had minions get stuck once on Maya, but no issues with getting the minions around on Augury, so there was no issues at all. So yeah, that's what I think I'll be starting. Obviously patch notes, right? They're not out yet. We don't know anything about the changes. So we'll be waiting for patch notes for me to actually lock in what I'm going to be starting and start to actually theorycraft in POB. Hopefully POB gets updated as well once the patch notes come out. Thank you POB devs. But yeah, I think that I will be playing Lich. I'll be playing minions. Currently I'll be playing Frost Mages or Storm Mages once I get to the end game. I'll be clicking Rupture the Soul, Conduit, Dominion Overflesh, and Blackened Heart. And the main things is that I'll be farming Expedition because the recombinators look insane. And that's the reason why you need this hexproof enemy thing, because there's a mod that gives minions, the mobs from Expedition hexproof. And this cursed explosion thing should allow the thing to instantly wipe the entire pack. If your curse is big enough, you place it, big curse covers most of the mobs, kills one of them, it should just blast the entire pack, instantly clearing the Expedition. So that should make it really good for Expedition. And then it should be really good for bossing because it's minions, and minions do a shit ton of damage, especially when you're boss, and you don't have to really worry about hitting the boss, you just run around and they kill the boss. So that's my thoughts. If you have any questions, if you have any theories, if you have any thoughts, please let me know in the comments below. I am very interested in what other people think, especially on how to solve this lose mana per second node. If you solve this, the build is basically, looks to me like a better Infernalist, in my opinion. But I guess Infernalist would get more spirit, and then on this build you'd get more damage. And you also get the explosion, which is the main part, because minions have no good AoE clear. But this could also change with Spectres, because there could be a Spectre with some sort of AoE clear explosion shit. We have no clue. That'll have to be tested once we're in game. Anyways, bit of a ramble, bit of a longer video. Thanks for watching, and if you have any questions, let me know. See you on League Start, or probably next week once I get some more concrete theory crafting out.